All right, happy Tuesday. Just to recap the game quickly, the guys played well, obviously did enough to win the game, and we're on to San Francisco in the Final Four at the Link. Expect it to be electric in there. I was here for a Final Four game, and it was electric. Best environment I've ever been at or a part of. And we're excited, and we got to go through the week and do a good job to give ourselves a chance to win.
Was that something you felt like affected the game?
I did. I really did. In warm-ups, a guy that I was, coaching, he looked at me with a look in his eye like, whoa, Harrison Smith. And I said, whoa, back. Like, you could feel the energy, and it's awesome. I mean, this is one of the best atmospheres that you're going to get in the National Football League. And obviously, being the championship game, it'll be heightened. But, I thought the energy in the building was just phenomenal, before kickoff, as the game got going. And, it's a tough place to play. It's a big advantage for us.
Were you surprised by that? I mean, you probably hear a lot of stuff about coming to play here.
Yeah, you kind of think like that's an external factor that you kind of block out. But, in 16 and 17 in Minnesota, when that new facility got built, that new stadium got built, that was a really, good atmosphere too. And that was the Minnesota Miracle, that game, to come here to play. And I was like, wow, I don't know if there'll ever be a stadium more electric than that I've been a part of after Diggs, has a walk-off. And when we were here in warm-ups, that's what it was. It was like, when we were here in warm-ups, it was like, whoa, this is like as electric. It's more electric than that place was. So and I always say, I joke about it with Mr. Lurie and Howie. I said, I've always wanted to be a part of a Philly team to play in playoff games at that stadium, because that's how it stood out in my mind. So, but you got to lock in and do your job, but it'll be fun. We'll enjoy it.
What does it mean to you when Nick is so close to Carissa and his support of you?
Like to my face or?
Publicly.
I don't really pay attention too much, Bo, but like I said, we've always had a great relationship, and he's never once wavered behind closed doors in his confidence to me and what we're doing. And, that's why he's a great head coach. He has everyone on his team's back. And that's why we do such a good job for him, because we don't want to let him down. So players, coaches, everybody in this building, and he's cultivated that ever since he's got here day one. It's easy to reciprocate that, because that how much he cares about the players and the coaches and everyone that's in this building. So, I love the guy. You guys know I love the guy, but he's always been in my corner.
Hey, Jonathan, when you're going against playmakers that are so multiple, like they have in San Francisco, how does that sort of up the challenge?
Yeah, big time challenge. It's a good question. They're in the Final Four for a reason. They're very well coached, and they got a lot of really good players. They do a good job. They put them in good situations, and they get, they're multiple. They do some unique things with their guys because of their skill sets. And just like any game, we got to have a plan for that. But you start going through, you start watching the tape, and then you look at the paperwork, and then you talk to different people in our building. What do we need to do? This and that, and it just keeps coming back. Well, it's kind of it doesn't surprise me. This is the Final Four game. Of course, they're going to be good in every metric. Of course, they got really good players. Some of the, I think they got guys at their position that they're probably the best, in the world at their position. So, it's going to be a big time challenge. It's going to be fun because we're good too, and we got some of the best players in the world at our positions too. So, we'll look forward to that challenge, and we'll be fired up on Sunday afternoon.
Does communication become more important because of that stuff when they move those pieces around as much as they do?
Yeah, you got to, like I said, you got to play what your eyes see. You know what I mean? And you got to have a plan for when they do those type things. So we'll have adjustments that we need necessary for some different things, but ultimately it's us just communicating, getting lined up, alignment, assignment, key technique, and then playing with violence. So that's what we'll harp on this week.
They're number one
1 in yards after catch. Is
Yeah.
that because they throw to their back so much, or is that personnel guys breaking tackles? And what does that say? What kind of challenge is that going to present?
Yeah, that's a great question, Jeff. It's everything that you just said. That's why they are that way. Schematically, they get the balls to guys in space, and then they have the guys that are touching the ball. Those are their, part of their unique skill sets where they can break tackles, they can run away from people, they can make people miss in space. And I'm not just talking about one or two guys. It's really everybody that's touching the ball. So I think it's a good job by Kyle. He knows how to get guys in space, and then he uses those. And then those guys have unique skill sets. That's why they're a really good offense. Is they got playmakers. And so we're going to have to do a good job with those guys because sometimes guys are going to have help, sometimes they won't, but depending on the call. So that will be definitely a key to victory for us is tackling.
What have you seen? What do you see when you evaluate Brock Purdy?
Yeah, I mean, he's a good player. He's a really good player. He plays extremely fast. He knows where to put his eyes. He gets out of trouble at a pretty good clip, Merrill. And what I mean by that, you see some free runners or the pocket breakdown, and guys have a hard time getting them on the ground. Doesn't take a lot of sacks, but he makes quick decisions. He's accurate. He gets the ball out of his hand. And that Kyle's a really good coach. He knows how to coach the quarterback of what they're trying to get done with certain plays, and he's doing that. So, and that's a reason that they're playing in this game.
You talked about the electric environment. You've been in it as an opponent. JG, in your experience, does that affect young quarterbacks more than better?
You'd have to ask them. I never played quarterback in an environment like that, but I think honestly, once the ball's snapped, now the noise definitely affects an offense when you're at home. I know that the noise will force them to do some different things, maybe. But they'll have a plan for it and be ready to go. So I don't think so. I think what affects any quarterback is the way that we execute and the way that we affect him throughout the game.
John, you have overlap with Purdy at Iowa State. Is that familiarity? Obviously, he's on the other side of the ball. But is that familiarity useful for you guys?
Yeah, absolutely. Any opponent that we play, we turn over every stone, and we try to, talk to the people that have been around him and that know him. So, yeah, DK, he had a whole list of things that, this is what we need to get done to have a chance, and so we use those resources.
You guys remarked, or I should say the players remarked, that they had exposure in those sessions to schemes they don't usually see, obviously, in training camp practices, and those schemes are comparable to what you'll see on Sunday. Were those sessions valuable, and have you had exposure since then to these types of offense to make you confident?
Yeah, I mean, you're looking to use every tool that you need to use, and then you see different ways that people try to attack you. You have to be able to combat those things and use our different tools that we have applicable to help us. But again, ultimately, Zach, it's going to be us about getting lined up, putting our eyes in the right spot, playing blocks the right way, supporting the run the right way, tackling, covering, rushing, staying connected, and having good emotional stability, good positive attitude, and let the chips fall.
As far as, I know you're looking at the offenses of other teams, but as far as D'Amico Ryans goes, have you had a chance to look at him as a defensive coordinator the last 2 years, and did you ever have any dealings with him when he was a player?
Not as a player. I know D'Amico a little bit. Yeah, I mean, they're a good defense. So we look at in the offseason, we study a lot of different defenses. And they do a good job of putting their guys in position to make plays. And just like their offense, just like our offense or our defense, they got good players. So it's going to be a big-time challenge.
You guys made a lot of different personnel changes on both sides since that last matchup you guys had last year. What takeaways do you take from that first game, and how different is that offense from the first game as opposed to what you guys expect to see this game?
Yeah, a lot of the same concepts. They got some different people in there, especially adding McCaffrey. Their O-line's a little bit different. But we use that as a tool. Like, this is what we did good versus them. This is what we struggle with. We got hit a couple times on certain routes or these couple runs we have to have a plan for. But our guys will watch that, and we've watched that. And I thought that we did a pretty good job that game. It was early in the season. But there are some things that they out-executed us at. And that's their MO. That's why they're a good football team. They run their staples and really just out-execute you. So we're going to have do a good job with our execution to combat that.
In what ways do they put strain on the middle of the field?
Just the players, honestly. So I think a little bit schematically, and then the players that they have. If you look at, how they deploy people, a lot of those guys are doing a good job in the middle of the field. So depending what coverage structures you're playing and who's on those people, we just have to have a good plan for that. And there's certain coverages where the ball should be dictated by the coverage and the route concept where you want the ball to go. And when it does go there, you have to do a good job of tackling it and minimizing the gain.
You play a lot of five-man front against the Giants. Were you matching personnel there? Is that just something you felt like you didn't have to do versus that offense?
Versus
Giants.
The Giants, yeah, Jeff, us, like whatever we think, is the best way to go with the structures and the coverages, that's kind of what we do. So we look a little bit different from week to week and game to game. But that, how we set up the game plan and what we decide to do, how we start the game, how we finish the game, what adjustments we're making, that's kind of talked about all week with our players in mind. Obviously, that's the number one thing. And then you make adjustments as you go. So that's what we felt was the best way to defend them.
They've kind of taken off since McCaffrey got there. Has he, obviously the skill set, but has he added anything to the scheme? Do they do anything different?
Yeah, no, they were doing a lot of the same things that they were doing with the other backs who are really good. Elijah Mitchell, I got a really high opinion of. But, you just add in another really, really good player into your organization, and that shows up. And he can beat you a lot of different ways, and we'll have to have a plan for all the ways that he's beating people.
When they throw the ball over the middle of the field so much, does that lessen the impact at all of having Slay and Bradbury on the outside?
No, not at all. They're going to play a huge part in our success on Sunday. But there's different coverage structures you can play that can kind of help that and stuff. But, they're going to be matched up on guys like all our guys every week. And, there's a situation, strength, and a stress of each call. And our guys are versed on, who's got the stress and who's got the strength of each call. And we know we got to win our one-on-one matchups and play the coverages the correct way to give us a chance.
How tough is it to try to take away or limit George Kittle?
Tough, because they deploy him different ways and he does different things. They do a lot of different things with him. It's not just like, they align him here and these are the couple things that he does. He does a lot of different things for them and they use them accordingly, like they do with Juice, the fullback 44, with McCaffrey, with Debo, with Ayuk. They use all those guys in different ways. So, and it makes it hard to defend. So we just have to understand when he's aligned in different spots, how they're using them, and what we need to take away.
Yeah, once again, I praise Christian for being ready when his number got called. But I think it's just the growth of everybody else in terms of the special teams unit. Early on, we took our lumps. It wasn't great for us, but I thought, I think that after that, and especially after the Green Bay game, I think everyone's seen that there's been a huge uptick in our production and everyone playing well. And like we said before, it was never a finished product, but kudos to those guys, coming together, banding together, and improving and trying to help this team get to the spot that we're in. It's very much a blessing, and the guys worked hard to get to this spot, being in the NFC Championship game, and being able to help out in any facet that they can. And we all know the special teams unit could be a huge swing of things. You see across the playoffs that it can be huge. So it's more, kudos to Christian being ready when his number is called, and all the other guys, just getting better and better as the week's gone on to help out this team.
Did you do anything differently? What changed? Did you change? Did the mindset change? What led to this?
I wouldn't say that. me personally changing. I try to come in every day because, like I've said before, these guys, you spend so much time around them. If you change one bit or try to be someone that you're not, they're going to sniff it out. And I think it's just more of, the more reps these guys have gotten, a lot of younger guys out there, but the more reps they got, the more familiarity they've gotten to what special teams in the NFL is, being able to dissect plays, being able to come together, speak a couple things. There may be some stuff where I had to do a better job of explaining to them in their own terms where they get it and then it clicks for them. Where I've had to grow as a coach, as a coordinator for these guys to get going. But again, 98% of the time is them just going out there playing with the energy, the confidence that they know they could be out there and play. I just try to put them in the best spot, that they possibly can make a big play. But again, still not a finished product. We still want to get better and, have an opportunity this upcoming weekend against a very good special teams unit to help our team get to our ultimate goal, which is to be in Arizona in a few weeks.
What's the breakdown of the Niners special teams units?
Good unit, very good unit. Schneider does an unbelievable job. He's done an unbelievable job in his career. I'm fortunate enough, when I was an assistant, he was in Seattle, so I had a lot of battles with him. George Odom, I can't say enough good things about George Odom. He's an all-pro special teams player, plays with great speed, tenacity, motor. Obviously, Robbie. You don't kick in this league for a long time without being, ice in the veins type guy. Mitch Wisnowski. I could go on and on about their special teams unit, but again, it's for us in this building to be able to get a good week's work in, be ready for them. It's going to be a good battle in terms of special teams wise, but we're looking forward to the challenge that's ahead of us.
Brett Kern was a little up and down his first few games. Obviously, 3 inside the 20, well inside the 20 on Saturday night. What did you see from him? What changed for him?
Just being more. Staying true to what he's been doing for 14 years, not second-guessing himself more than anything else. He had a really good week of practice, getting more into more of a natural rhythm of everything, and for us, it paid off in that game. You could see how much field position changes. Those 3 inside the 15 or whatever it may be. One was really good coverage by Zach McPherson, just understanding what type of returner we were going against right there, understanding that he liked to take chances inside the 15 and getting down there. Then those plus 50 punts, with the protection and the hang time to allow our gunners to cause those fair catches, I thought was really good with Brett. Then, he's been such a great holder, and our operation did a really good job of, hitting our extra points and field goals right there. So, just the confidence Brett has going back out there, just being true to what he was for 14 years.
Is your advice is to stick with him the rest of the way, even if Aaron's ready?
Yeah, I'm just getting ready with the guys that we got right now. Anything injury-wise, Howie and Coach Sirianni will take care of, but for right now, we're game planning that Brett's our punter, so we'll go on with that.
Boston seems to have added a lot to the kickoff return game. Why do you think it took so long to get to him before you settled on him?
Yeah, it's just, like I said, just a little bit of a change-up right there. I think we started to put him in there around the Green Bay game, and he's, getting north and south with what he wanted to do, and, stay very simple with our schematically, get these guys just playing fast. Hey, you got this guy, let's just get it and go. And Boston's done an unbelievable job. I think everybody's done an unbelievable job in terms of taking the onus of, hey, we could really do something in help of field position. That's a huge thing, a starting field position, regardless if it's a return or staying true to the key of being a surprise onside kick, being tuned into there, because it helps our offense out. When the offense only has to go 42 yards, 50 yards right there, you see what we could do right there. Then if we get that ball past the 30-yard line, it takes the added pressure off, not them getting 7 yards. So I think Boston's done an unbelievable job of getting downhill, seeing he has really good vision, obviously being a running back, then just the guys in front blocking. It's tough in this league when guys are running down 60 yards full speed, but these guys are sprinting back, getting their landmarks, getting their hands inside, pretty much playing penalty-free outside of probably 2 on our kickoff return this year. So it's, everybody coming together knowing that they could to affect the game.
If you're with Rick and Cody and with Boston Scott, they can have an impact on the game. Given the magnitude of the game, how do you coach them to stay within themselves but not be afraid to make an impact on the game?
Yeah, you never want to, be Superman out there. Stay within, the game's going to come to you. You don't want to be, yes, if you're getting touchbacks, you're itching to get a return, But obviously, you got to take, the pros and cons of the whole thing. And same with Britton being a punt returner. Like, it's tough out there being a punt returner. When he's got an opportunity, get in and go. Get that first. I try to stress to him, get a first down. If you get a first down every time, it, helps out the offense. You've got 10 yards right there. But also, it's our number one goal on return game is give the ball to the offense. If the ball is up there, 42 yards at a 4-7 hang time, most likely you're not going to get a return. Catch it. We'll live to see another down right there. So staying with themselves, making smart decisions. But when they do give you the opportunity, stay true, be confident, make a big play right there. Was that getting the 10, 15-yard return? And Britton's done a really good job, especially this latter half. And I think everyone saw after that Tennessee game the confidence of, the 20 yards, the 15, the 16 yards, and to the guys on the outside handling those gunners right there. Then obviously Boston getting downhill to, was it back-to-back weekends where he had 50-plus yard returns. So it's just staying within ourselves, and when they give us an opportunity, let's go out there and make them pay, but let's not do too much.
Along those lines with Covey, is he?
The 5 years that you spent in San Francisco, and in particular the years with this current staff, what did they do for your career and your development?
Yeah, those 5 years in San Francisco, I'm very blessed to be around Kyle and all that entire staff, and you've seen how his staff has kind of blossomed out. Saleh being the head coach with the Jets, and McD being the head coach with the Dolphins, and guys getting offensive coordinators, at other places. It was just very fortunate that I was being around a coaching tree like that, and now guys go over and you see different teams. You're, hey, how you doing? How's the family doing? So just very blessed to do that, especially. And I still got colleagues on that staff right now that outside of this game we would text back and forth, hey, pleasantries and everything like that. So just very, very blessed to being able to be under that coaching tree with Kyle.
I was just curious about Covey. Is he ever sent out there to explicitly to just fair catch, just go out, fair catch it, and let's get it to the offense?
There's also different, scenarios where, hey, just catch it right here, trying to save time, or the only thing that could happen is if, God forbid there be a muff punt and they get the ball, something like that. You say, hey, just get away from it. But for the most part, situationally, he's been very smart about everything. Hey, just fair catch. If I feel anything, let me fair catch. If I know I got green grass, let me get downhill and try to make a play. But there's different scenarios where we communicate in that.
Ray McCloud's averaging about 11 yards per return during the playoffs. What's made him so effective in the postseason, and what do you guys have to do to stop him?
Yeah, Ray, been in the league a few years, very explosive. He stretches the coverage, puts his foot in the ground and gets downhill. He tracks the ball really well off the punter's foot. He's not afraid of contact. We got to make it a full-on effort from the protection. Schneider does a really good job of scheming up some rushes. They got some guys on the interior, big, strong guys that can bull you back. Then after the punt, has been kicked, our gunners, Josh and Zach, have to do a really good job against their one-on-ones to get in Ray's face and, make him bubble, make him go east and west instead of north and south. If you can make a guy go east and west, it allows the interior of the coverage to string him out. Then we just got to be great tacklers. Especially in the playoffs, those missed tackles could turn a 4-yard gain into a 40-yard game. So we got to be great when we're our first guys down there to secure it. Then the second and third guy, if you have an opportunity, go punch at the ball. But it's got to be a full-on concerted effort from all 11 of protection first, covering down, making sure we keep Ray bottled up. And for the most part, throughout the entire regular season, I thought the guys have done a really good job in terms of that. But we got to keep it up. In the playoffs, we didn't have any, we had a really good opportunity against Richie James for a negative 3-yard return. We got to keep that momentum going that, hey, it's going to take all 11 of us to stop a really good returner.
How well did you get to know D'Amico Ryans while you were in San Francisco? What kind of person or even player, if you have any recollections of him as a player?
So me and D'Amico go way back. When our first job here as a quality control, he was the linebacker, and I worked with Rick Minner and the linebacker. So from the first time I ever meet him, to talk about a guy that studies film and so cerebral, that's D'Amico. He's so smart, and you could throw any concept at him, and he's going to get it within 2 to 3 minutes. Then from the coaching side, D'Amico was my office neighbor, so I'd walk around and hang out with him, talk ball with him, especially during the draft process. Hey, what do you think about this linebacker? What do you think about that? So D'Amico, kudos to whatever organization hires him as a head coach, because he's going to get that thing turned around. He's done an unbelievable job, and you could just see the passion that he has as a coordinator. Former football player, everybody knows. He could bring it as a player, but super cerebral. Players love him, and you can see the guys give out full-out effort for him.
Why does he command so much respect from fellow players?
think it's just his demeanor, how he carries himself. Very soft-spoken outside of it, but how he, interacts. And when you're in a locker room for that long as a player, you pretty much get to know a lot of different personalities. And then when you become a coach, you have to know those different personalities. And they respect his work ethic. I respect his work ethic as a coach. And, the energy he brings, nothing changes from day to day. So nothing but respect for DeMeco.
Could you kind of see that he was going to be, could you kind of sense he would be a successful coach when he was a player, if he chose to?
Oh, yeah. If he wanted to, I think DeMeco, whatever route he took outside of football, he was going to be successful, whether that be in football or a Fortune 500 company. I thought he could, anything he would have done would have been great.
This postseason has shown the value of consistent kickers. What about Jake's temperament allows him to maintain that consistency?
Yeah, I think just his professionalism. Obviously, you guys know when he was a rookie, nothing really rattled him. A 61-yarder as a rookie, that's hard to rattle a guy. Then he comes in every day. He works his craft. He knows, I didn't hit this well. Why didn't I hit this well? Or, man, I had a really good session. Let me go back to the film and why I did this a good session. And it's kudos to Jake just having that mindset, very similar to Robbie in terms of ice in his veins. When he's going out there, nothing really rattles him. He's ready to go out there and perform. And, when he has an opportunity, when the lights are shining down on him, he just sinks down to his fundamentals, what got him there, and he's able to really deliver a lot of big kicks in his career, and he's done a really good job. At least the 2 years I've been with him, he's been outstanding. I have nothing but love and respect for Jake Elliott for what he does.
What's he like on game day?
The same as he is from Monday through Saturday. Very calm, cool, collected. He wants to do everything in his power to do right for the team. He stays within himself. Nothing really rattles him. He does his process. He's easy to communicate on the field. He's always out there ready to go. So during the game, it's easy to communicate with him. I know where he's at. He knows where I'm at. Let's go with this. He's like, I'm ready. Whenever he steps between those white lines, he knows he has to put the ball through the uprights. And again, it goes down to all these guys' work ethic. He was up in the office on Monday trying to get better. He had one bad rep as a jammer in his own eyes, and he wanted, why did that happen? And he corrected it right on the field, and he had a few great reps right there. And he really takes special teams to heart. He knows his role on the team. I mean, he's got Slay and Bradbury in front of him, and he learns from them on the defensive side, but he knows on special teams, I got to be the top dog. I got to be the captain of the outside unit, and he's done an unbelievable job. And a lot of kudos goes to Tyler Brown as well. I know he does a lot with the specialists, but he handles the outside guys, and the growth from year one for Zach to year two has been outstanding, and he prepares like every game is his last game, and he goes out there and he's trying to make the best plays he possibly can. And, he's a very smooth runner. He's very long as a corner and strong. So when he's able to do that and get in the hip pocket of someone, he does a really good job. So, again, Zach has done an unbelievable job from year one to year two to help grow this special teams unit.
Yeah, that's big. That's one thing. That's one of the biggest things. One of our core values is fundamentals. We talk about it a lot. Obviously, you got to practice it, you got to preach it, and then go execute it on Sundays.
Shane, what makes DeMeco's defense so difficult to go against as an offensive team?
Yeah, I think just watching them over the past couple days, they're very sound in what they do up front. It starts with Bosa and Armstead. Those guys are really good players. Bosa's very, an exceptional player. He's got really good speed to power. They do a good job in their rush lanes, collapsing the pocket, especially on third down. Warner and Greenlaw, really good players. I can't say enough about Warner. Just the way he plays within that scheme, you could tell he prepares the right way. He understands route combinations. He's got incredible instincts to where the ball is. He understands, line blocking schemes of when to shoot, go through the gaps. Like I said, he plays within the scheme really well, but phenomenal instincts. And then on the back end, they're really sound too. But just overall, really good, solid defense that we got to be ready for.
Sorry, what kind of challenge is it when the best pass rusher on a team splits sides pretty much 50?
Yeah, there's no question. They do a good job of mixing him up right and left. So, we got to have a plan for that and be aware of that, where he's at all times. He's one of the best in the league doing it right now, so we got to be ready.
What was your reaction when you saw the play of Warner carrying CeeDee Lamb all the way up the field in that play?
Yeah, I mean, he's an exceptional player. Like I said, he's got great instincts. He can cover tight ends, receivers, really good. I mean, defensively, they're really good at tackling, too. You know, they don't have a lot of missed tackles. They wrap up well. Just a really solid defense.
Kenny Gainwell's role has seemingly increased these last few weeks. The bulk of his catches this year, I think, have come in the last 6 weeks or so. What's that a product of?
I think it's just, mixing those guys in. And obviously, the more you play, I talk about this all the time, the more you play, the more you see, and the more you get comfortable with things. And Kenny's running hard right now. Offensive line's doing a great job blocking for him, and he's doing a really good job.
We haven't really seen that defense play a quarterback like Jalen this season, except for week 1, which is a long time ago. How do you try to figure out how they're going to attack him?
No, like I said, we got to be ready for everything. How they're going to play certain things in the run game. So we got to prepare the right way, give different looks, in practice and walk through of what we might think we might get, all those different things. But I'm sure they'll have a plan, and we got to be ready for it.
Is that an advantage or a disadvantage when the team doesn't, when you don't really know what kind of looks they'll give you against the QB run league specifically?
Yeah, I think you got to just be ready for everything, to be honest. I mean, how they're going to play that, we'll see how they play it, and we got to adjust to it in the game.
When you make that change and use Kenny as a change of pace guy after Miles has maybe played the first 3 or 4 drives, what goes into that? Is that pre-planned when you're going to go to Kenny? Is it feel?
I think it's a feel thing. And Jamal, we talk about it throughout the week, just getting those guys rotated in and out. And all the stables of backs have been incredible. So, Kenny was running hard there and obviously popped a big one at the end, popped another 3rd down run. He was running hard and he played good, and so did Miles.
In half your games this year, you guys have attempted a deep ball on the open drive. I guess philosophically, what's the benefit in particular when you connect early in the game?
Well, I think it depends on the looks. You know what I mean? Sometimes, that ball could have went deep. It might not have, and they gave us a look to throw it deep, so we did. So I think, when you can hit chunks early, and especially, obviously, whether it's early or late, when you create the explosive plays, your percentage of scoring points goes up. So that's obviously one of our things is creating the explosive plays, and that's what we try to do every week.
Shane, obviously, you guys went for 268, I think, on the ground. A lot of that is game planning, but in game as a play caller, what does that feel like? We're running it, and we just keep going.
Yeah, it's kind of what you said. I mean, really, that's it. And when something's working, you kind of stick with it. And the ground game was working there, and we stuck with it. And our offensive line was doing a heck of a job. The receivers, tight ends, backs, everyone was playing hard, and it was working, so we kept going with it.
What do you think of the environment Saturday night?
It was incredible.
Yeah.
I can only imagine what it's going to be on Sunday. I'm fired up for the link to be rocking. I know that.
One of the loudest venues you've been in?
Oh, and without a question, I think it's one of the best venues. Actually, not one of. I think it is the best venue in the NFL. Coming here and playing here. The first time I was here was coaching here. I never got to play here because the division switched over. I never got to come into the link until I started coaching here. But obviously, the first game I coached in here was incredible, and just to see the passion, that atmosphere that these fans have for this team, it's incredible. So I'm excited for Sunday.
When Jalen kept on the first zone replay, you guys ran with him, you lost the yard. But did you see them after that point, have to basically account for him?
Yeah, I think you always got to account for him in the run game. Any team that plays us knows that we have that in our arsenal, so they got to be ready for it.
There's a them have had a horrible record in their next game, and people have equated that to their physical play. Do you think there's anything to that, or?
I think every week's a new week. You know what I mean? I really do. I think you got to go into every game prepared for, whatever they could throw at us. And offensively, obviously, we got to go out and execute. That's the bottom line, execute and take care of the football.
We talked about last week, emphasizing the importance of doing what you guys do well.
Yeah.
Putting the game plan together, how do you balance that versus figuring out what they do well in defense?
It's a little bit of both, but sure, if stuff fits that we do well, we want to do that. You know what I mean? And dress it up and do different things. But that's the biggest thing is putting our guys in position to make plays.
You talked about the environment. How impactful can that be on communication? You've been used to playing Kansas City a lot.
Oh, it's huge. Yeah, exactly. Being in Kansas City as a visiting opponent in there, and how loud it gets, and the communication, with the play clock and all those things, and obviously if you got checks going on, I mean, it's tough. It's definitely an advantage.
When you look at Hufanga and Gibson on the back end for them, how do they affect the passing game, and what have you seen overall team?
Yeah, they're really physical. Obviously 29, 31, they're really good players. 29's been, really good all year. He's good in the box. He's good in the post. Gibson, I was with Gibson for 1 year in Cleveland in 2013, a veteran player. Both those guys are really solid. They can fly around. I mean, that whole defense is really good.
How did you game last year? I know much has changed since then, but in watching that film, what stood out?
I think just we as a team, being together, we've grown as a team. Just like fundamentally details more than anything. Looking at little things that I'm like, oh shoot, yeah, we've done that a lot better this year. So I think just within the scheme of what we're doing, the repetitions of what we're doing and how we're doing it and how we're teaching it. Like I always say, the more you do it, the better you're going to get at it. And I think the details of how we're doing it is a lot better.
They confirmed that, AJ was dealing with something late in the game and maybe frustration, all receivers want to get the ball more. How has he been throughout the season when maybe there have been weeks when he hasn't?
He's been awesome. This group is a selfless group. They know that it could go to them, 10 times in a game. They might get it 4 times in a game. But the bottom line is winning the football game, and these guys understand that and where we're at in the season right now. Guys know what's in front of us, and we got to go get it.
How do you handle it when they are, when a lot of receivers want the ball and they express it?
Yeah, you go talk to them. Yeah, you go talk to them and have those conversations with them, and then we go from there.
Knowing him and being around the top end receivers, do you understand where he was coming from?
Yeah, I mean, these guys, he's the ultimate competitor. The ultimate competitor. He's passionate about the game. All the great players want the ball, and I don't blame them. They better want the ball if they're a great player, and he's a great player. And same with Smitty and Dallas and Quez and Zach and the running backs. Everyone, wants to get touches too, but they all know at the end of the day it's about winning football games.
What'd you make of Lane's performance?
He's awesome. I can't say enough about Lane. Just what he's done all year has been tremendous. And then, obviously coming back from that injury, the way he played, I can't say enough good things about Lane.
What dictates whether you go pass or plays in this line?
That's just a game-by-game basis, what's going on. And Zach got some more reps there, and we have trust in all those guys, and Zach got a little more reps.
Did you find yourself, you and Stout, kind of find yourself looking at Lane a little more just to make sure he was okay?
Yeah, you always do that when a guy's, just make sure he's good. But he was phenomenal. You know what I mean? He got through it great. He felt great. So we're excited about this Sunday.
How much do you take away from last year's game against them early in the season? How much do you take away from that film? Granted, the personnel is all different.
Yeah, we look at it for sure, just like I'm sure they're looking at it, and then we go from there. Nothing really more to say than that.